Hey guys, so today's video is an anti-haul. I said I'm moving away from beauty content a little bit. I don't want to focus on beauty content, but I'm still doing makeup while I'm watching movies, so I feel like anti-hauls are still perfectly fine for me to film and I enjoy filming them. I just feel like I was oversaturating my content with anti-hauls and I feel like now I haven't spoken about them in a while, so I can do it now. So I'm going to do it. Social media will be in the description along with my drama channel, anything else you need to find. Let's get into the anti-haul. So I have a bunch of stuff to get through. We're going to cut out a bunch of it because it's just like too much. Let me move up. But I collected as much as possible to, you know, show you guys. So we have these Huda Beauty Wild palettes. There's 4 different ones. And matter of fact is, I like looked at these and I was like, they look kind of cool, but also do they look any different to any other Huda Obsessions palettes, like those little ones? No, I feel like they look the same. Like that Wild one looks like the yellow one that just came out on Cult Beauty, like it's a Cult Beauty exclusive. It's like a yellow gold palette and it looks exactly the same. And then the Wild Python and Wild Chameleon look like those colourful ones that she came out with. So I just feel like these are very repetitive at this point. The only one that looks good is the Wild Jaguar one, but not something I'm really into. Next. Then we have Slime Light making these hologram highlighters. They look really cool. I just feel like these textures can get a little bit annoying sometimes with like picking up foundation underneath and all of that stuff. So I don't know how I feel about this. I'd have to like try it out and I don't think we can find these anywhere physically. So I'm just a little bit like, you know? I don't know. This texture just, I don't know, for some reason it just looks like it would pick up foundation from the underneath. Dior is coming out with the Birds of a Feather collection. And these look stunning, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think there's anything color-wise that I'm like super into here, like anything that would be like, wow, this needs like a part in my collection, mainly with how expensive Dior is. I feel like if it's not something that I want to use every day, I just don't really see the point. So I'm gonna move on. Then we have Charlotte Tilbury coming out with this Super Nudes collection. It's 90s inspired. Why was that so difficult to get out? There are 5 lipsticks, 1 eyeshadow palette, 1 face palette. So I got the lipsticks and the face palette. I didn't get the eyeshadow palette. It's an all matte nude brown palette, as if I don't have that 5,000 times over. Like it would have been stupid of me to get it. So I just got the face palette and I got the lipsticks. I honestly haven't been using the lipsticks as much as I wanted to, only because I'm like super obsessed with like very specific shades on my lips lately, but I'll get into them. I'll figure it out. But the face palette is stunning. I think what it's missing, I wish that instead of 2 contour shades, because that's exactly what these are, they're 2 contour shades. I wish they did 1 bronze, 1 contour, 1 blush, 1 highlight, because I feel like you can't really warm up your face. You're only chiseling, but you're not warming up, so you have to go into a bronzer regardless. I just wish they just did 2 palettes with 2 different skin tones in mind, or like 3 maybe for like light, medium, deep, and then just did bronze, contour, highlight, blush to get like a full face palette, and then it would have literally been the perfect palette, but it's not, because it doesn't have the bronze shade and I don't just want to chisel, I want to look bronzed because I'm pale. So that's my only critique, I guess, if you guys are picking this up, is like you can't really bronze. Then we have I Heart Revolution with Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles, and essentially just like cereal, which like I'm not a huge fan of cereal as a whole, so I just don't really need this. Moving on. Anastasia Beverly Hills is coming out with concealer. Shade range looks fine. It doesn't go super deep, but maybe they'll add some more. I don't know, I just feel like Anastasia Beverly Hills hasn't been like blowing me away with their releases lately, and I feel like even if they're releasing really cool stuff, I'm just so like almost like negatively charged towards them. I'm just like, I don't know if I'll pick this up. I'll figure it out, I'll see. I loved their foundation. If this is anything kind of like along that formula, this might be nice, but I just have so many concealers right now that it just makes no sense for me to try this. Urban Decay is coming out with a Naked palette, but it's like the Naked Cyber palette. It's basically just like a bunch of pastel type shades. I just think there's not enough mattes, and the mattes that they do have don't create a cohesive look. We have this one like warm brown shade at the end, and that's like the deepest matte shade, and the other ones are like peachy nudes. It just makes no sense. The jump in between the mattes makes no sense. And then you have those shimmer shades that just don't go with this look, so I just feel like I wish they just did more mattes, like a more even split between mattes and shimmers, and actually made it a cohesive look. I don't know. This palette's like a wasted opportunity in my opinion. Then we have the Coca-Cola Morphe collaboration. I think this is like their third one. The palette is not something I'm interested in, but I actually ended up getting the sponge set. So it's 3 sponges and I actually really enjoy them. So there's a small sponge, there's a big sponge, and then there's a half split kind of suede sponge and then a regular sponge. And that one is super soft on one side and the other side is super stiff. It's kind of fluffy. But it's wonderful at applying powder because it's almost like a brush and sponge in one. I wouldn't really recommend using liquid/cream products with that side. It does not look good. But you blend with, you know, your cream products with the spongy side and then you set with the other side and it looks wonderful. So actually that's a really good sponge. Colourpop's releasing zodiac sign astrology little quads. And I was going to get Aries, but Aries is always red. I'm an Aries. But I don't wear that much red eyeshadow and I feel like Aries is always red. It's like, oh, fiery. It's like the original thing to do. Super creative, you know, to make the fire shade red. I just wish they went in like a different direction. Isn't like Aries, like when you look at birthstones, one of the birthstones for Aries is diamond. I wish sometimes they would lean into that. Make it like a bluey, icy type of thing. Switch things up a little bit, you know, give me something else. Because I just don't want another red eyeshadow palette, so I'm not doing it. I'm sure someone's loving it though. Like if you love red eyeshadow and you're an Aries, good for you. This is the palette for you. MAC's releasing this Tempting Fate collection. I think these look stunning. Like this eyeshadow palette looks great. They have the strobe face glaze as well and 5 new lipsticks, a new Fix Plus kind of a limited edition situation. But MAC isn't cruelty free, so obviously I'm not getting this, but I think the packaging is stunning. The lips look stunning. The eyeshadow palette looks stunning. The face glaze looks stunning. Just wish they were cruelty free. YSL's releasing another very boring eyeshadow palette. This looks like every other one that they've released so far. There's quite literally no difference. If you showed me them in like a slideshow, it'd be like, you're just showing me the same palette over and over again. Thank you. Can we switch it up? Oh, you have switched it up? Didn't realize. And then they're releasing these like bunch of red lip shades. None of this is speaking to me. So let's just move on. We also have this Kiko Milano collection, Charming Escape, and I think it's super cute. I don't need the eyeshadow palette. I love the blushes, love the lips as well. So Kiko is definitely a brand that I haven't looked into too much and I haven't used too much, but I know they sell it in physical stores in the UK and the pandemic is loosening up. So maybe I can go in and check a few things out because I feel like Kiko's got that like beautiful balance between like not super high-end prices, but like also good quality. And pretty interesting releases, and I feel like they're super underrated and don't get talked about a lot. So maybe I can try them out for once. Then Colourpop's releasing the Sonic Bloom palette. Yeah, just not something I'm interested in. I feel like this is a palette that I've seen 10 times over. It's like the maroony type shades. Not interested. Moving on. Too Faced Cinnamon Swirl palette with a melted matte. Have we not seen this every year? The last few years, I feel like all the palettes just look the same. They look the same. I'm not interested in whatever this was. Moving on. The Tinkerbell collection by Colourpop. Super stunning. Just not something I need. I feel like I have those green shades in other palettes that they've released, like the Mandalorian and the actual green palettes that they've released. And everything else is just basically a repeat of stuff I already have. So I'm just going to move on, even though it's super cute. I just have this a lot. Morphe and Trend Mood are doing like a box together. I think this is long gone, but the palette looks super boring and there's just like a few things like Suva and P. Louise that are also sold under Morphe, and then some Morphe kind of eyeliner, mascara, lip set, but I just think this is very like just not something I'm super interested in. Milk's releasing a concealer. It's a light coverage under eye brightening concealer and I want this now. I have this in my basket on Cult Beauty and I want it so desperately. I think this will be super nice and brightening and stuff. I just think it'll be good. So I want to try it really bad. This could either be great or an absolute disaster. Just depends how the formula swings. Got to Be is releasing the Style and Fix 2-in-1 Brow and Edges Stronghold. So you can either use it on your hair, like with these bad boys. You see these? Like I get it. It's a good thing that my hair keeps on growing. You know, we love to see this. But also like I have nothing. I don't know what to do with these half the time. And that's not even all of them. It's like there's these ones in the back as well. Can I get a break? I just can't even do a ponytail without... Anyway, now that I've embarrassed myself publicly, just public humiliation as we speak. So I think this is super interesting. And because it's by Got To Be, who do obviously hair gels, I feel like for the brows, this would be like super hold. And then you could also just do your hair at the same time and just like slick your bun back if you needed to. With all the like trendy TikTok hairstyles now with like the slick back hair, I think this would be quite cool. So I want to try it. You could probably get this in like local Superdrugs or something. So I might try this. I'm actually very intrigued to use on my brows because nothing holds my brows in place. If I do eyebrow gel by, I don't know, like 30 minutes, it's all just drooping down again. So maybe I can finally get my brows to stay up. Then Kaja Beauty is releasing the Wink Lash Trio, which is basically, it's like a custom lash look with 3 different formulas. So you get the lengthen, you get the clear, and you get the volumize, and then you can use them kind of together or separately or kind of however you want to. It's $28 and I would love to try this if only Kaja was sold in the UK. But it isn't, so I can't. Revolution's releasing a DC collaboration, and I'm gonna offend some people. I just don't really do the superhero movies, action movies. Not really like my super favorite thing. So like I'm not like a huge DC fan. So like as a whole, not gonna get this. But 2, like I just like the makeup itself, not calling my name. I'm also not like a huge DC fan. So like I don't really, both ways, I'm just like, meh, you know? I feel like I've offended like a bunch of people. Moving on. Colourpop it came out with another one of those big palettes. It's called the It's a Mood palette, and I love the jewel tones. I don't really need this and I don't want the big palette, but I think as a whole this is probably one of the most interesting ones they've released in a long time. This is kind of reminiscent of the Kathleen Lights one that everyone loved, that was kind of limited edition. So if you kind of missed out on that, I think this is like a good alternative if you're looking for that size and that colour scheme, but I'm not. So I'm moving on. Natasha Denona came out with the retro palette, which is a bigger version of the mini retro palette. Now usually what happens is Natasha releases a big palette or a mid-size palette and then does a mini palette off that palette. But this time the mini retro came first and then the mid-size happened, which is this one. But they look nothing alike. Like this is the mini retro, which is super pale pink, icy almost. And then this is mauve and purple. So I don't really see the... Usually from the mid-size to the small, you can see like a inspiration. From here, I'm like, these are 2 different palettes. I don't know, I'm kind of interested, kind of not. I'm kind of on the fence about this one. I don't know if I'm that interested. So I'll think about it for a while and then decide. But it's probably a no. Like it's most likely a no. I'm thinking though. Then we get the Sugar Pill Fun Size 2 palette, which is like just pastel, colourful type shades. Not looking to buy this. Moving on. Then we have Fenty Beauty coming out with this snap mechanism. You get the 3 Diamond Bomb highlighters in 3 different shades, and then you get the eyeshadow palette and you can stick them together or use them separately. Now, I love the Diamond Bomb highlight, but I only use 1 shade, which is How Many Carats, and it's the basically clear one with silver glitter going through it, because it's the only one that doesn't leave a cast on my face. These all look too deep for me. These all look like they will leave a cast, which is like not where I'm at in life. So I'm not getting the highlights. And then the palette, I watched reviews and the reviews are very mixed. Now I know Fenty's had a struggle with eyeshadow palettes, like they just haven't been performing as well, mainly the mini ones that they were selling. These weren't getting the best reviews and this one is also not getting the best reviews. I think the mattes perform quite well but from what I've seen, the shimmers are really lackluster. So I just feel like as a whole, this isn't a release that I need. But I'm moving on. Huda's releasing a lip balm. Apparently it's a really nice lip balm actually, but I have like 5,000 lip balms, so I'm not going to do that to myself. Then Givenchy is releasing one of those loose highlighters with the 4 shades. They do it for blush and they do it for powder. I'm so intrigued by this, but I don't think Givenchy is cruelty free. So I'm not going to get to do it. But I love the concept of like these 4 different shades. You can mix them together. They're loose, so they're like... I don't know, I'm intrigued by this. Wish they were cruelty free. Gucci is releasing a cushion foundation with an SPF 22. Very specific SPF. Why not 20? Why not 25? Why not 30? We're getting 22. And this is the shade range. I'll show it to you on a hand in case you needed. That's it. That's the shade range that they're offering us. I think I would struggle to find a shade because quite frankly, they're not giving me many options to work with. 3 of them are just like pink/peach. Okay, anyway. Then we get this, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Holiday 2021 Smoky Eyes Are Forever palette. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to be really honest. I got this and I'm a little bit disappointed, maybe. Like, you can't really create a cohesive look with this. There are just not enough mattes to get me through the day. I like building up the transition. I like building things up, and these just go very deep very quickly. And I feel like it ends up looking quite patchy, which I've never had an issue with Charlotte Tilbury looking patchy on me. This is the first time. I think the shimmers are stunning, and there's some really good new shimmer formulas in this that I haven't seen before from Charlotte, but I feel like you definitely have to, maybe when you're as pale as me, like, you really have to either use a bronzer as like a transition or just dip into a different palette, which having 12 shades and having to dip into a different palette kind of irritates me. So I just wish there was more, because if you think about it, there are so many, well, not so many, but there are a few pink shimmers in this palette, but no pink leaning mattes. There's just like brown, black, that's it. And then like one slightly green looking shade. I just feel like there's not enough to create a cohesive look. So I'm kind of disappointed, but that's okay. Tom Ford's releasing these Shade and Illuminate blush duos. I think they're really cute, but also like I don't need another blush. I have like 1,000. So unless it's like blowing my mind, I don't want it. Then we have Kaleidos coming out with the lip glaze. So there's two different sets. It's called like the Apple collection, and there's two. One's more experimental, one's more nude leaning. They did that last time as well, which I think is a great idea. You get like 2 sets of 4, one experimental, one kind of like everyday, and it just kind of works that way. I think this formula is absolutely amazing. Fantastic. I've been loving it. I love the shade Adobe from the last one. It's actually like, I think it's like the Nude 01 or something like that. It's actually called Adobe. Just beautiful everyday shade. And this formula is so good. It's like a liquid lip, except like it doesn't move, but it's also not drying at all. And it feels almost like a little bit slippy on the lips, but like it doesn't move. Amazing. So get these if you find shades that you enjoy. And I already have this because I received it in PR. And I love the lip mask as well because it has like a slight apple tint and it just looks really good. Anyway, this collection is really stunning. Milk's releasing liquid blush in 4 shades. I don't really like any of these shades, so I'm just gonna not get this. Colourpop's releasing their Fresh Kiss lips in a bunch of different shades. I don't need any lip products right now. Gonna move on. These are all very simple. Like, it's so easy for me to say no to these. I'm so good lately with not buying makeup. Patrick Ta's releasing a mascara. I have a whole box of mascaras that I need to get through. Moving on. One Size is releasing 2 setting sprays, 1 luminous setting mist and 1 mattifying waterproof setting mist, but I don't have a Sephora in the UK at all, and these are only sold in Sephora, so I'm not gonna get these. Fenty is coming out with their Heat gloss, but in like new shades, and they're basically opaque, non-shimmery, plumping lip glosses, which I think is really nice, but I have so many lip glosses slash plumping lip glosses, but I have so many lip glosses, plumping lip glosses and non-shimmery lip glosses that I just feel like all my bases are covered, so I don't need to do this. But these look so good. Fenty's also releasing liquid liners. I don't really do liquid liner anymore. I basically just do eyeshadow like this. I just smudge it out and then do a little bit of like pencil liner, and it is so much easier. Honestly, it's so much easier to fix as well, so I've just given up on liquid liner at this point. Then we have a spring 2022 not leak, but like a tease of Too Faced's new palette, and I think it looks quite cute, but it's just not something that I need at all. It's just got this like random blue in there, like a bunch of, it's like Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance with like blue in it, and I just don't need it. Moving on. This is Armani, and it's an eyeshadow palette, which I actually thought this was like a blush slash highlight palette, which I think would be quite cool. Like, you can mix them together or use them separately. Shimmery, shiny. But it's $117, first of all. $117. Second of all, it's an eyeshadow palette. It's huge. And how do you pick up each of these individual shades without dipping into a different shade? You can use this on your cheeks as well, but it's just that would be like a huge blush for $117, which I just don't need. And as an eyeshadow, like a bunch of these shades just look very pale. Like, can you create cohesive look with this? I don't know. Moving on. Milk's releasing the eyeshadow and concealer primer, which is basically an extension of their Hydro Grip range. They already have a regular primer, setting spray, and now this. I think it's interesting this is also a concealer primer. I've never seen that before, but maybe it will help with like creasing under the eyes. So I want to add it to my basket and see how it works. That'll be quite cool. We also have Nikki Tussauds releasing her brand called Nimia, and it's actually a skincare slash beauty brand, and so far it's mainly skincare products. We have a fan to like fan your face, some moisturizers, serums, that kind of a thing. So it's kind of interesting that even though Nikki's like very full coverage, glam, stuff like that, she's still releasing skincare. I think maybe that's like the way to go now. I'm not really interested. I feel like I don't really know where to get this. And I have so much skincare to get through. Honestly, so much skincare. Like I have backups on backups. I just don't need anything new right now. So I'm moving on swiftly. Then we have Plush Like Me by Colourpop, which is like a new collection for fall. It's like fall, am I American? Autumn. Some blush sticks, some lipsticks, some lip liners, some highlight, and an eyeshadow palette. I have all of these shades 1,000 times over, so I just don't really need this. But I think it's cute for autumn if you need it. Anastasia Beverly Hills is releasing this holiday 2021 palette, and I'm very intrigued by it. I just want to know if this is, I think someone's already released, I've seen in my sub box a review of this palette, so I'm going to watch it because I want to know if this is the Norvina formula or if this is the ABH formula. If it's the ABH formula, I'd love to try this palette. If it's the Norvina formula, I'm good. I just don't really like that they put these two face shades into the palette because I just feel like that limits who can use this palette and who can enjoy this palette. I just wish they did eyeshadow separately and face separately. I know you can use these technically on the eyes as well. They could just be like bigger pans of staple shades. But once again, staple shades are not the same shades for everyone. So just don't put them in. I dropped my Apple Pencil in anger, hold on. Then we have Gucci releasing this eyeshadow palette. I think it's really bulky, and like always with these designer brands, it's just not something I'm really interested in. I just think it looks very, not like a cohesive look, in my opinion. Moving on. Then Pat McGrath's releasing this collection that I forgot to buy. I signed up for the emails, but the emails always go into spam, so it just never is helpful, okay? There's this big palette that I'm not getting. Then there's these two blush palettes, blush / highlight, and the deeper one is too deep for me, but the lighter one, I have one of the blush shades and I have the highlight, so it only leaves one blush shade out of the trio that I don't have, which makes no sense for me to get. Then there's two quads and one highlight. These are the only things that I will be getting if they're still in stock. If not, that's fine, but that's all I'm getting. Moving on. So this is very interesting. So as you guys know, Becca's shutting down because obviously they're not making as much money as they should be making. And for some reason, Smashbox has now decided to take over some of the Becca best-selling products, aka the Shimmering Skin Perfector Pressed Highlighter, which I'm not sure how many shades they're exactly going to be carrying, or if they're going to do new shades, old shades, I'm not sure. And they're doing the Under Eye Brightening Corrector with new shades. So they used to only have 2 shades, I believe, which was like awful. It would literally only go up to like my skin tone. But now they're doing Fair Light, Medium, Medium Dark, and Dark, which is a much nicer shade range, obviously. So yeah, they're making it sound like it's like, oh my god, Smashbox just like loves Becca and wants to save them. But they're both under Estee Lauder, so it's probably just because Becca actually made good money from the highlight and the under eye skin thingy corrector. They probably made a lot of money from that, and it made no sense to carry on a brand with just 2 products. So they just made another brand take over those products and just continue to make money from them, I think. Then we have this Jeffree Star collection. It's called Pricked, and it's obviously him. It's got Wyoming farm vibes. I'm not interested in buying Jeffree Star products, but if you want orangey red shades, go for it. Then we have another release of the Colourpop X Hocus Pocus situation. They did this last year with a bigger palette, and I got some of those stuff. I got lip liners, lipsticks, and the palette. And this time they're releasing Super Shock shadows, a stamp, some lip products, a candle, and an eyeshadow palette. I just don't really want any of this. I'm not that interested. I just don't think this will be something that I use all the time. Based on how much or how little I used last year's palette, I just don't think I'm going to use this one anymore than that one. So I'm moving on very responsibly. And that is it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, comment down below anything you want to comment down below, and subscribe to those videos every time I think of something to do. So hit that bell. You'll be notified when that's happening. Social media links and the links in the description. I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.